Hello everyone, so in the last video we built out this home page where we built out all these components all the way to the footer. And so in this video we're going to begin to build up the personal page, which is this one right here, how PayPal works, and it is this page. So if we navigate into application into /personal, then we're going to get this blank page, obviously with the footer because we rendered the footer on every page, and then we have the text that says personal, which is correspondent to our application. And so what I've done is inside the source folder and inside the images folder, I've created a new folder called personal, which is going to have all the images for this page that we're going to build in this video. So it's going to have this hero image as well as these images for these tabs that we have that we're going to create. So right away, what I'm going to do is inside my pages folder, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm just realizing I may have to rename this a bit because this is I feel like it's going to blot out our structure a bit. But inside my pages folder, I'm going to create a new folder called personal. And then inside personal, I'm going to create a new file called hero.js obviously, and then I'm going to say rfc, and then it's going to create this div for me. And then once I have this, then I'm going to go inside my personal page. Where is it? Here, inside my personal page. And then now instead of rendering this, I'm going to render out what did I just create? Hero. I'm going to render out hero and just make sure that it's coming from personal/hero. That is the correct component that we want to render. And of course, we don't need a div, so I'm just going to return a fragment. And then I'm going to save this. And in our application, we should now see hero once this reloads. And as it reloads, then let's just go ahead and begin building out this hero page. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to return a fragment and then a section with the class of, let me say, hero, or let me say personal dash showcase. And then inside here, we're going to have a div with the class of overlay. And then this div with the class of overlay is going to have an h1 that says this. Let me just copy and then paste it here. And then below this h1, we're going to have a button with the class of btn. What was the class that I had in CSS? Let me see. It was btn blue. So with the class of btn dash blue, so that it takes the classes of our custom button. And then the button says sign up and get started. Is it camel case? No. And get started. And this is going to be our hero section. So let's go ahead and save this. And once this reloads sometime today, we're going to have this on the screen. So let's go ahead and begin to style this out. The first thing that we're going to do is create this class in CSS. So inside our CSS, we're going to go right above this media query. And we're going to say that for the personal dash showcase, we want to copy this style. We want to copy this style, but we're going to increase the height and of course change the image. So the height for this, I'm going to set it to 800. And then the image is going to be coming from /personal/ what is it? Personal hero.jpg. And once again, when you clone this repository, you're going to have access to all of these files, so you don't have to worry about where you're going to get the images. And then once I have that, then let me just save it to ensure that we're getting the right thing on the screen. And there we go. 800 is a bit too big. See how it's just a bit too big. So let's reduce it to about 700. So 700, let's see. I think 700 works correctly. Yes, 700 works correctly. So let's work with 700. And then what we need to do is, let me see, we need this text to come to the center, and then we need it to be capitalized. So not capitalized, but we need to make it bigger. So let's go ahead and create this class of overlay. So I'm going to say that for the personal showcase, and then the class of overlay inside, I want the height to be 700 pixels as well. And the reason why I'm adding the same height here is so that when we display this as a flex box, it's going to come completely to the perfect center of this image. So let me show you. If we go ahead and say display flex and then align item center and justify content to the center and save it, then this is going to come here. And there we go. And of course, we need the flex to be aligned in column form. So flex direction, set this to column. and it's going to set this one on top of the other. And then let's make this h1 bigger. Let's style it out inside our, where is it, hero. So inside this h1, let's give this a class name of text white and text dash 4xl and margin bottom of 8. Okay, this is too small. Oh, you know what, on mobile screen this should be fine. And then we need this to be centered, so let's do that. So inside the overlay here, let's say text dash center, and then let's add a padding all around of, what did I use in my home page hero? What did I use? Padding x of 8. So let's maintain that. So let's say padding x of 8, so that this pushes inwards just a bit, and then it is now centered text, so text center. And this looks fine on small screens, and then on larger screens we can increase the size. So beginning right around somewhere here, we can go ahead and say that for large screens the text should be 5xl. How big is that? Okay, and then for XL screens, let me say 2XL screens, then the text should be 6XL. Make it bigger, and then of course we need to limit it. So inside the div with the class of overlay, let me just remember what max width I had applied on everything so that we can maintain it. So we have a max width of, where is it? Did I not add a max width here? No, max width for Excel? No, that doesn't seem right. Where's the max width? So we have a max width of 6XL. That is the one that we're going to be using all through. So right here, let me say max width should be 6XL, and then MX auto, so that it centers everything properly, and this should come here. That looks okay, that looks okay. Let me see. Yeah, the font is just a bit thicker. So let me say, if I say font light, what happens? Okay, that's much better. So font light, and then we have our button. So that is our hero section, as you can see, and probably we should limit this just a bit more. So let me set this to 5XL just for the hero section, that is, so that this reduces. No effect, so let's say 4XL. There we go. Still too big. Let's say 3XL. Is it still too big, or is the, I think this text is just a bit larger, but we can work with this. Let's work with this. And then next, let's go ahead and create this part, and this is just going to be a bit of copying and pasting because we created this h2 in the previous page as well. And so what I'm going to do is inside this section 2, let me see if it's here. I'm just going to copy this h2. So this h2, I'm going to copy it, and then inside my hero.js, I'm just going to go outside of this section, and I'm going to create an h2 that says this. Oops. Okay, I already copied this. Let's just paste it in, and then let's go ahead and copy the h2. So copy this and paste it here and save it, and let's see what we have. Okay, so that is our h2. Now the reason why I've placed this h2 inside our hero component is because I don't see the need of creating a separate component for the h2, because I don't think we're going to be using it anywhere else in our application. So that's why I've just put it below our section, which is our hero. And then, you know what, let me style this out better. So let me grab this and place it inside a div with a class of max width dash 6XL with a class of MX auto, so that it centers it correctly. And then we can paste this in and then save it. Let's see. Okay, and then let's add a padding Y of 10. And then for large screens, we're going to add a padding Y of 20. That looks okay, looking nice, nice, nice. Okay, and then let's go ahead and create this section next, which is going to be our kind of hard section. And okay, you know what, because this section is a bit more technical than these others, let me just go ahead and create this part. And remember, we created a component that is called, I think, sign up or something in our components here. Did I? Where is it? Sign up. Is it this one? No. What did I call it? Sign up JS. This one. I created this one. So we're just going to reuse this. So inside our personal JS, right below our hero, we want to render our sign up. And remember that this sign up now comes from components homepage sign up. So it is basically components, this one, homepage, and then this component that we are rendering. And then above this, we want to render, see how this section, where is it? This section here kind of looks like, let me show you, it should be here. It kind of looks like, where is it? This one, right? Only the title is different. So what we're going to do therefore is this. I am going to go inside, that should be, I don't know which section it is, but it should be section 5. Is it section 5? Yes, it is section 5. And I'm just going to copy all of this. And then inside my pages folder and inside my personal folder, I'm going to create a new file. And let me see actually which section is this going to be. This is the hero, and then this is the section 2, so section 3. So inside our personal, we're going to call it section 3.js and then paste this in. But then remember to change this to section 3 as the component name. And then we need the title here to change from this, paste it in, and then everything else I think remains the same. Safer and faster, safer and protected, shop with peace of mind. Okay, it is not completely the same, so let's just do some copying and pasting. So copy and paste it here, and then copy this and paste it here. And then more about security, the button remains the same, so across devices worldwide with just one account. Okay, that remains the same. So mostly free, also free. It's free to open PayPal accounts, so this also remains the same. Okay, so only the first article changed. And now you notice that when I save this and then go inside my personal, I can render section 3 here. And section 3, now notice where it is coming from. Section 3 from personal section 3. Because we have two section 3s, we have one that is here in our homepage, and then we've just created another one here. So take note of that. And when I save this, then we should be able to see it render here. There we go, looking nice, nice, nice. And then all we need to do now is, because we have this rendered, which is this part right here, and the text is different, the h2, but it doesn't really matter that much, I don't think. And then we have our footer. So all we need to do now is create this section, which is the tabs, which means this one, and then creating the tabs for this toggle, which I think is going to be quite interesting. So let's go ahead and do that right away. And how we're going to do that is, let's just first add in the h2, So let's just add in the h2. Let's copy this h2 from here. So this div, copy this, and then inside my personal, I'm going to create a new file called section2.js. And then inside here, I'm going to say rfc. And then just for my peace of mind, let's go ahead and paste in the h2 here, and then remove this div that is the parent, so that we return a fragment. And then save it. Okay, before you save it, let's just say join the, okay, I can't copy this text. Join the 192 million active accounts worldwide. So join the 192 million active accounts worldwide who use PayPal too. And then we have the tabs that are going to be created here. So you can save this for now, and then we can render it inside our hero, sorry, inside our personal component. So here we want to render section 2. So section 2 here. And we should be able to see something on the screen right there. Of course, we need to play around with these paddings. So let me go ahead and fix those paddings for now. Inside section 2, we can remove, what do we need to remove? Let's make this to be padding bottom only. So padding bottom and padding bottom. So this reduces, okay. And then what I want to do is, I just want to go ahead and let me see, how do we need to do this? So these are tabs. These are tabs, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a component for each of these tabs. So for the buy online tab, we're going to create this. For the send payments tab, we're going to create this, and then so on and so forth. And then I'm going to show you something interesting that we can do in React. So let's go ahead and create these components. So inside here, let's say buy online. So personal, let's say buy online.js, and then let's say send payments. So send payments.js, and then request payments, and then buy and sell on email. So request payments.js, and then let me just call this buy sell ebay.js because I don't have any other name. And then in each of these files, let's just say RFC to begin with. So RFC, and then RFC. I should have muted my phone. Just a moment. Okay, there we go. And then inside buy online, let's say RFC as well. And then what we need to do is inside section 2, actually not really inside section 2, but remember how we created something similar like this in the first page. In the first page, we created this section here. This section, we're just going to basically copy and paste the style so that we don't have to do this all over again. So let me just go ahead and say this should be section 4 here. And so let's go inside section 4. So inside components and then homepage section 4, it should be these ones here. These are the correct ones. This is correct. Let's see for buyers. So function buyers, I think we should begin to copy it from here up to here. So copy, and then in buy online, we're just going to replace all of this. And then of course we need to say export default function, and then we need to import the correct images. So we're still going to call the images buyers1. So import buyers1, but the path for them is going to be different because we want it to go into dot slash images, and then we want it to go into the personal image, the personal folder, sorry. And then it is called, let me see, buy online browser1, buy online underscore browser1.png, and then this is buyers2 and then buyers3. So copy this down once, so 1 and 2, change this to browsers2, change this into, come on, buyers2, change this into buyers3, and then change the reference here to buy online browser3. Okay, that is correct. And then once we have that, we need to change this component name into buy online. So buy online, and then that is correct. So sign up with just an email. Let me see. We need to change this the text. So copy the text here, paste it here. We need to copy this text here and add it here, and then we need to copy this and add it here. I think that's it. Okay, so let's save it. And then are we rendering our buyers here? No, we're not. So let's go ahead and render our buy online component. So let me see, where is it? Too many files and folders open. Where is our thingy? It should be inside section 2, this one. So right below, let me see, right below this div, the h2, sorry, let me create another div, and then inside here we're going to render our buy online. Now this is not the structure that we're going to use, but I just want to see the component in our application. Buy online is not defined, I have not imported it, so there we go, and it should be here. Okay, so this is the buy online component. Okay, fantastic. Now what we need to do is we need to do the very same thing for the other component. So this is the buy online, so we need to do the same thing in the send payments component. So you know what, let me just copy and paste. So select everything in the buy online component, copy, and then the next tab is the send payments. So send payments, just copy everything, so select everything and then paste in what you had copied. So change the component name into send payments, and then let me get the images here. The images are going to be send payments browser1. So let me just select this, let's call this send payments 1, then just copy this and paste it here and paste it here, change this to 3, change this to 2, and then copy and paste it here, and then paste it here, change this to 2, and then paste it here, change this to 3, And remember to reference the images correctly, because this is now no longer buy online, but this is send payments. So send payments. Is it the same name? Send payments, send payments. Okay. So what we can do is we can just select this text and say Control D, and then paste this in, and then we can move the number. So send payments browser 123. That's looking okay, and then we can save it. And then once we save it, then we can go ahead and inside our section 2, we can render it below this. We can say send payments. Of course, remember to import it on top, and we should see it right below this. Okay, so this is the send payments. Okay, the text is different. The text is not this one. So let's get the correct text. Copy this, and let me see. We need to paste it. Where's number 1? Here. And then copy this, paste it on number 2. And then copy this, paste it on number 3. Would you look at that? Being a developer is all about copying and pasting, is it not? Well, not technically. And then we need to create the request payments. And for request payments, you can see just a bit of the same thing. So just copy everything inside here, and then inside request payments, let's select everything and paste it in, and then change this into request payments. Request payments. Let me see, request payments. Okay, let's begin by changing this text. So copy and paste it here, and then copy this and paste it here, and then copy this and paste it here. Oops, here. There we go. And then we need to change these images. So let me get the correct images. So request payments, request money. So request money. So what we're going to do is just we're going to change this into request. We're going to change this into request money 1. And then we're going to copy this and paste it here and here. Change this to 2, and then change this to 3. And then we're going to select this text and say Control D and paste it in, and then you can remove this, the number here, and this should be small m, so that we get the correct image. And then the image that we're referencing here is request money 1, so copy and paste it here. And then this one should be request money 2. This should be request money 3. Fantastic. And then back inside our section 2 component, we can render out request payments, this one. And we should be able to see it right below this one. So request payments is here. And then we need to build out our final one, which is the buy and sell on eBay, which is all this. So let's go ahead and say buy, sell eBay. Wait, I need to copy all of this. And then inside here, select it, paste it in, change this into buy, sell, what do you call this? Buy, sell eBay. Okay. And then we need to get these images, so get the correct images, buy and sell on eBay browser 1. So now let me just call this buy sell 1, just because it's an easier name. So copy, paste it here, change this to 2, change this to 3. This should be called, what is it called? Buy and sell on eBay browser 1, those two browser 3. Okay, that's correct. So copy this text and paste it here. Buy sell 1, this should be buy sell 2, this should be buy sell 3. And then we need to get the correct text, so copy and paste it on number 1, and then copy this and paste it on number 2, and then copy this and paste it on number 3. Okay, that's looking okay. So now, now when we go ahead and render our buy and sell on eBay, then we should see it appear here. There we go. So those are our 4 components. Now obviously we don't want to do this, right? So we want to create tabs for them. So how we're going to do that, therefore, is by doing this. We can now close all of these. There are too many, and then we can go ahead and open our 1 component, which is called section 2. And so inside section 2, what we're going to do is this. We're going to import our use state hook, because we want to place in these components inside some kind of state where when we toggle by clicking on one of these buttons, then it's going to show the corresponding component. basically just creating tabs. So what we're going to do therefore is this. We are going to create a component here called items, and we're going to set it equal to useState, and it's going to use state of some data that we are going to create right away. And the data is going to be structured as follows. So we're going to say const data equals to an array of objects, and the data is going to be rendering a component, and the component in this case is going to be each of the components that we've just created here. So the first one is going to say buy online. Okay, and I should mention that if you're creating data like this and you want to render a React component inside your array of objects, always make sure that you have React imported on top. Otherwise, it's going to be interpreted as JavaScript, and JavaScript does not know that these are React components. So always make sure that you have React imported on top. So we're going to have a component here, and then we're also going to have a button, and the button is going to be basically this one on top that says buy online. And then we're just going to go ahead and copy this downwards. So 1, 2, 3, change this into send payments. The text is going to say send payments, and then this third one is going to say request payments. Request payments. Did I accidentally put something here? Okay, nothing. And then the button is going to say request payments, and then the fourth one is going to say buy sell on eBay, and then it's going, the text is going to say buy and sell on eBay. There we go. That's looking okay. That's looking okay. So let's go ahead, and before we save this, we're going to remove all of these components. So remove them. Now what we need to do is we need to render out our buttons on top, right? So right above this div, I'm going to create a UL, and then inside this UL, I'm going to map over my buttons. So I'm going to say items.map. No, sorry, not map over my buttons. I'm going to map over the data so that I can render out the buttons. So I'm going to say items.map, which is this one, and I'm going to say that for every item that I get back, I also want to get the index of the item, which is going to be our unique key. And then we're going to render out a list item with the key of index. And then inside this list item, we're going to render out a button, and the button text is going to say item.button, meaning basically the text inside here. And when I go ahead and save this, then we should be able to see our buttons on the screen right there. So you can see that we have our 4 buttons: so buy online, send payments, request payments, and then buy and sell on eBay. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to figure out how we're going to render out the components. And so what we're going to do therefore is we're going to create another state value, which I'm going to call value, and it's going to have a function here called set value, and we're going to initialize it to useState 0, meaning it's going to be initialized to the first item in our array of objects that we've just created, meaning the first item is going to be this one. So because I only want to render one item, then I'm going to get the first item from my component. I know that I can destructure the component here, and then I can set it equal to my items, but because I want it to be dynamic, I want it to be dependent on the current value that we're on. Meaning if you're on the value of 1, it shows the second item. If you're on the value of 2, it shows the third item, and so on and so forth. So once I get this, what I can do now is inside this div, I can go ahead and render the component. And remember that the component is the React component that we've just created. So each one of these. But you'll notice that now when I save this, it doesn't render all of them at once, but it only renders one of them. And it only renders the one that is currently equal to the value that we have inside here. So for example, we know that this is currently the buy online component, but if I change this to 2, then we should see the third component, which is request payments. So I'm going to save this and notice that it changes, and we now see the request payment component. But by default, I want it to be the first item always, so that's why it is initialized to 0. So let's go ahead and save that, and we're going to have this, and then let's style out these buttons. And for these buttons, I think we style them out inside our component somewhere here inside section 4, I think. So let me just see, let me see. Did you style them out? This one, it should be this UL. Okay, so you know what? I want the list item and the button. I want all of this. So let me copy this, and then inside section 2, I'm going to, let me just run it on top. Otherwise it's going to confuse me a bit, and I don't want that. Okay, so what we need to do is we need the, here we're rendering, we need to render the key here equals to the index, and then we need the button text here to say item.button. Okay, is that correct? Is that correct? Let's see. That should be fine. So that now we can remove this. Wait, is that correct? Yes, that is correct. What we need to do now is we just need to grab this, and then we need to remap our items. So items dot map, and then for every item, let's also get the index, and then we can paste in what we just copied. And this should now render our buttons, but it also adds the functionality that we added it in the previous page, so that now when I click on this, we should be able to see. Oops, let's remove this first of all. Let's just comment this out. That is the issue. Let's comment it out first of all, and then now if I go ahead and click on this, the function doesn't work. Come on, what am I thinking about? Let's go ahead and add a border bottom on this button. So let's go and, so right below, what should I add? Let me just add it here and say border dash b dash 2, and then border dash blue dash 600, and then I can remove it from here because I don't want, actually, do I? Wait. This border should be gray dash 200, I think. Or let me say gray 400. Now this border is when it is inactive. So for these buttons, when they're inactive, for the one that is not currently showing, and then when it is active, then I want the border to be blue. That is the correct one. So let me save this. Let's see. This one should have a border now. Okay, so they all have a border because there is none that is currently active here. So what we need to do is we need to add in this functionality. Instead of saying that set value to true, we need to say set the value into the index, meaning depending on the index of the button that we click on, then we want the corresponding component to show up. So if I click on buy online, nothing changes because we're currently on this component. But if I click on send payments, we see the send payments component, and so on and so forth. But you'll notice that our functionality is messed up. It is messed up, right? Where did I go wrong? Only when value is true. Let me say index is equal to the value. How is that? Is that correct? There we go. So when index is equal to the value, then what this border bottom dash 2, border blue 600. Why doesn't this apply? Why doesn't this apply? We have a problem, right? We have a problem. Let's figure out why this doesn't apply. Let's remove it. Okay, so it applies when it doesn't have a border bottom. So let me say border dash b dash 2, and then border gray dash 200 or dash 400, and then let's move this. Is that correct? Why doesn't it apply? I'm actually curious. Let's do the opposite. Let's say border blue 600, and then let's say border gray 600. No, you see, that's the opposite. That's not what I want. But how comes it applies on one but not on the other? Come on. And I'm very sure that I'm going to be editing, and then I'm going to see the mistake that I've made, but I can't seem to see it right now. Border bottom 2, border gray 600, border gray 400. when index is equal to the value text blue 600, font bold, and then border blue 600. Okay, let's reload this because I can't really seem to find the issue. Can't seem to find the issue. Do any of these classes apply? Let's check. Let's just check this out. Where are you? Here you are. If I click on you, do the classes apply? Border gray 400. Border gray 400 is still the one applying. But border blue 600 is still here. Is it because of specificity? Or is it because this one is defined first before this one? Let's remove this class. Let's see. Let's see what happens. So if I remove it from here, then it applies. That is quite annoying. Quite annoying. Okay, so you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. Let me create a custom class here. In our CSS, let's create a custom class below this that is called active. And then we're going to say at apply. When it is active, I want these classes to apply. So let me just cut them out, paste them here, and then save it. And then we can replace all of that with the active class. Does that fix it? What? Why does that fix it? Tailwind sometimes is annoying, but as you can see that now it works correctly, right? Now it works correctly. So you can see that now it works correctly, and we can tab over our items. So let's just make sure that it displays properly on small screens and we don't have any issues. And you can see that we do have issues because we need to add some padding on the left and right. So let me go ahead inside. Where is it? Let me see. First of all, let's fix this by adding flex wrap. Flex wrap. Let's add, save it. Let's see. Okay, that actually works. That actually works better than expected. And then inside this div, let's add a class name, and let's say padding on the x of 8 to push everything inwards. That's much better. And then when we increase it, nothing happens. It's a bit too squeezed. It's a bit too squeezed for my taste, but that is because of how we've just dialed them out. Okay, so that is going to be it for this page, and in the next video we're going to begin with the pay online page. I think, yeah, we're going to begin with this page looking nice. Okay, so see you in the next video.